Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the IndieZoNe. My name is Kathy. In this presentation, we're going to be going over a document just unsealed today to the public, and today is October 10th, 2025. This is the amended Notice of Compliance and Motion to Seal State's amended witness list. It was filed on the 25th of June, 2025 by the state of Idaho. And we see here on page 1 that the state is delivering not the penalty phase witness list, but the guilt phase witness list to defense counsel. What is guilt phase? Guilt phase is the case in chief. This would have been where the court would have turned at jury trial to the prosecution and said, counsel, you have the floor. Begin the presentation, your opening arguments. Tell us what the evidence is going to show and then produce that evidence. Admissible in that court to find beyond a reasonable doubt that Mr. Kohberger was guilty of all 5 of the very serious felonies that he was charged with and that he pled guilty to. This is the guilt phase. I prefer, in my opinion, to call it the case in chief because guilt phase assumes guilt. And any defendant who is sitting at defense table during the first phase of the trial, there is a presumption of innocence. The sentencing phase would only come into play if there was a return of a verdict by the jury of guilty, which of course did not happen here because the trial again was canceled. We go to page number 3. This is where the amended witness list begins. We see both lay witnesses here who we would anticipate to be called, and we see expert witnesses. What's the difference between the two? A lay witness is a person that has actual personal knowledge based on what they saw, what they heard, what they know, versus an expert who, based on skills, knowledge, and experience, is being proposed to serve as an expert based on skills, knowledge, experience of something relevant in the case. In this case, possibly bringing in someone who's a scientist who could explain DNA evidence, which was very prominent in this case. That's the difference between a lay versus an expert witness. Now we see such lay witnesses here as Emily Allant, Hunter Chapin, Maisie Chapin. These were some of the students, family members to Ethan Chapin, Hunter, and Maisie. Along with, we see Bethany Funk is listed here on this first page. These are people that the state, in my opinion, giving pure speculation here, would bring forward because they had different levels of knowledge. Someone like Bethany Funk, according to what the public has been told, was in 1122 King Road before, during, and after the times that the crimes were alleged to have happened pursuant to the state of Idaho. Emily Allant was not. Public's been told that she was summoned by the other surviving roommate to come to 1122 King Road. Who Karen Allant is, that's a question that is unknown at this time. If this is a family member of Emily, if she was also at the property at some point, if she has some knowledge, personal, saw, heard, knows something, question mark, or there could be no relationship at all. This could be an expert witness that the state was intending to introduce because most of them were sealed to the public. Then we see people like Eric Gower, arguably a lay witness, one of the last people known, according to what the public knows, who saw Madison and Kaylee alive, because he is, what the public understands, served as the private driver who picked up Madison and Kaylee at the grub truck on Main Street and brought them to 1122 King Road. We see one of the first responders from the Moscow Police Department, Shane Gunderson, listed here. He could possibly be an expert witness, or he could be a lay witness because of what he saw, what he knows, what he heard when he entered 1122 King Road. Could be an expert based on any testimony that he would give as a law enforcement officer. We go to page number 2. We see examples of more lay witnesses. For example, Molly McMichaels. The public understands that she was supposedly the DoorDash driver who brought food to 1122 King Road and actually walked outside of the property and around it for several minutes before she dropped off the food, presumably at the front door. A witness with knowledge, perhaps, being brought forward as a lay witness. These events happened just before 4 a.m., minutes before the timeline of the crimes were alleged to have happened shortly after 4 a.m. We see here Hunter Johnson, who the public understands went upstairs and entered the second floor bedrooms, one of the crime scenes, before law enforcement arrived. There's a name here that's quite surprising, Quinn Kelly. The public understands that this is a very close friend or a boyfriend of Dylan Mortensen, whose name is listed here as well. In the building, 1122 King Road, before, during, and after the crimes. It is unclear why Quinn Kelly's name is here. What possible knowledge could Mr. Kelly have as a lay witness here? Unknown. Amanda Kohberger. We finally have answers as the public as to who the state of Idaho, during the in limine proceedings, disclosed they would be calling from Mr. Kohberger's immediate family. It was Amanda Kohberger, one of his sisters. His parents, notably, are not listed here, in addition to his second sister, also not listed here. Then we see two names we fully expected: Justin Leary, column 1, Brian Knoll, column 2. Who were they? They were the two Pennsylvania state troopers who signed the Pennsylvania affidavit of probable cause, submitted it to the magistrate in Pennsylvania. The magistrate, based on that affidavit of probable cause, then signed a warrant for Mr. Kohberger's arrest in Pennsylvania. Trooper Leary is who actually physically arrested Mr. Kohberger. So no surprises seeing Leary and Knoll here. We see here representatives of the ISP who were part of the crime scene processing at 1122 King Road, November 13th, 2022. We see, for example, Jake Schwecke, who worked on the team processing the crime scene that day. We see names here: Corbin Smith, first responder for the Moscow Police Department; Ryan Snyder, first responder for the Moscow Police Department. We also see Officer Nunez, the very first inside 1122 King Road, from what the public understands to be on the witness list for the state in the case in chief. Then we see Corporal Brett Payne. Absolutely expected Corporal Payne to be on this witness list. He is the lead detective for the Moscow Police Department regarding the investigation into 1122 King Road. He signed the affidavit of probable cause, successfully seeking a warrant for Mr. Kohberger's arrest, as he did on December 29th, 2022. He is also said to have, very puzzling to me, gone into 1122 King Road, accompanied by Officer Corbin Smith, first responder, as he's described, who apparently, from body cam footage of Officer Warner speaking with Officer Smith, he had a problem with his body cam. And in recent proceedings, against the city of Moscow regarding an injunction, only 4 body cam footage were sent to Judge Megan E. Marshall, according to the memorandum in support of the injunction that was issued against the city of Moscow to do such things as to release photographs from Madison Mogen's room where this sheath might be photographed. Brett Payne says in the affidavit of probable cause, page 1, page 2, that it was Corbin Smith who accompanied him through the building shortly after his arrival at 4 p.m. But Corbin Smith, according to report number 1, the very first one in the Moscow Police Department filings that were released to the public in July, asserts that commencing 4:04 p.m. on the 13th of November through the time that he signed his report at 4:17 p.m., he was apparently finishing up his duties. Why would he do a report stating what he saw, what he did upon responding to 1122 King Road if he was still working? And why isn't this walkthrough with Detective Payne mentioned in Corbin Smith's report? That's document number 1, released by the Moscow Police Department. Names that are not on here that I'm a bit surprised about: Corporal Chad Williford of the Idaho State Police, who wrote a report stating on the 16th of November 2022, he was tasked with going to the Moscow Police Department and picking up this sheath, evidence item number 11, and taking it, or at least taking it part of the way, many hours away, to where the Idaho State Police Laboratory in Meridian is located. He didn't apparently take the sheath all the way to the laboratory. What he did instead was he turned it over to a Corporal Tarentine. And at that point, we don't know what happened with the sheath. If Corporal Tarentine himself drove it the rest of the way, if he drove it part of the way and then someone else took it the rest of the way to Meridian, or if he delegated the whole thing to someone else. This has to do with chain of custody of this sheath. Very important in this case. The sheath that the public has never seen, ever. Either at the crime scene or after. Very surprised that Corporal Williford and also Tarentine is not listed here. I give my opinions pursuant to the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. If you have any thoughts, any opinions, any comments that you would like to make to share with other members of the public, please do so here. In our next episode, we're going to be going over further items that were released today, the 10th of October, to the public, or previously sealed. Until next time, my name is Kathy. Thank you very much for joining us here today.